In the mist-shrouded highlands of China stood the grand palace of the heavenly demon cult, a fortress of power and mystic arts. Within its halls, the cult's heir, Yon Wunhui, received a solemn apology from a physician. The elixir the doctor had painstakingly crafted had failed, unable to cure the deviation in Wunhui's ki, but the heir only smiled in response. There was little to be done, for he had been born with a broken lower dantian, making internal ki cultivation impossible. Instead, Wunhui had mastered the mystic arts, earning his place as the cult's heir, not for power or ambition, but as a debt of gratitude to his master. After bidding farewell to the physician, Wunhui strode through the vast corridors of the palace, his steps steady and unwavering. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out, a voice he had not heard in years. It was his martial uncle, Chun Hajin. Wunhui greeted him with polite admiration, acknowledging the great effort his uncle had undertaken to travel across the cult's territories. But Hajin's response was cold, laced with underlying resentment. He claimed that his tireless work was necessary, for neither the cult's leader nor its heir had fulfilled their responsibilities. As the deputy leader, it was his duty to step in to ensure the cult's prosperity. Wunhui's eyes darkened, but he merely offered a sarcastic thanks before walking away. As he entered the heir's hall, Wunhui could not shake his suspicion. His uncle was no man of simple errands. He knew Hajin was scheming, and something had to be done before the man's plans took shape. But before he could act, suddenly, his body seized in shock. The wine he had been drinking was tainted, the poison lay in it, burning through his veins. A sharp pain erupted in his throat as he coughed up fresh blood. With a furious glare, Wunhui crushed the wine cup in his palm, shards of porcelain scattering across the floor. No wonder this drink tastes so little, he growled, his voice dripping with bitter amusement. Will any of you care for a sip? It would be a shame if I were the only one to enjoy it. Even before he spoke, he had already sensed them, the assassins lurking on the rooftop above, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Caught in the act, the squad leader wasted no time commanding his troops to attack the cult's heir. Wunhui's fury ignited. How dare anyone challenge him within his own hall? In an instant, the assassins descended from the rooftop, their claws striking viciously from every direction, aiming to tear Wunhui apart. But their triumph was short-lived. To their shock, the figure they had attacked was nothing more than an illusion. Wunhui reappeared behind them, his presence radiating an overwhelming aura of intimidation. "If you plan to capture me in my own domain," he said as his voice cut through the air like a blade, "you should have prepared better." The assassins, undeterred, launched another assault with all their might. Yet Wunhui only smirked. "I warned you already. You're not enough to take me down." With a swift motion, he clenched his right hand, summoning a chain spear that tore through the attackers with merciless precision. As the last of the squad fell lifeless to the ground, Wunhui turned his gaze toward the shadows. He knew exactly who was behind this treachery, his martial uncle, Chun Hajin. "Is this all you've got?" Wunhui sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. "As your martial nephew, I am deeply disappointed in this pathetic display." Wunhui turned, his eyes locking onto Hajin, who stood frozen alongside several elders. Sweat beaded on their brows as they stared at Wunhui, still standing tall despite the deadly crimson crane poison coursing through his veins. Hajin's mind raced in disbelief. A dose of that poison could dissolve a bull down to its bones. How was Wunhui still smiling? "Crazy bastard!" Hajin cursed inwardly, his shock mingling with seething rage. In truth, Hajin could never accept Wunhui, a mere orphan incapable of mastering martial arts, as the cult's next leader. With the highest elder's support, Hajin gave a subtle signal, his eyes flicking toward Wunhui. The elders moved as one, encircling the air, ready to strike from all sides. Wunhui chuckled darkly, his voice dripping with mockery. My beloved elders, poison wasn't enough. So now you gang up on a child who can't even wield martial arts? How brave of you! Chun Hajin scoffed, his voice dripping with disdain. Even in your condition, you still dare to boast. If only you had been a more cautious and dignified heir, none of this would have. Before he could finish, Won-hee cut him off sharply. Enough of your nonsense, uncle. Tell me, who's behind all of this? His words struck like lightning, leaving Hajin momentarily stunned. Regaining his composure, Hajin admitted that the decision to dethrone Won-hee had been made collectively by him and the other elders. But when his eyes narrowed, his voice laced with accusation. You've conspired with factions outside the cult, haven't you? Betrayed the cult to eliminate me. Tell me, did you plot against the cult leader in the same way? Lowly brat, how dare you insult me as a traitor? Hajin roared, his fury erupting as a dark aura enveloped his hands. Without hesitation, he lunged at Won-hee with unrelenting force. Yet Won-hee smirked, his voice calm and cutting. Judging by your reaction, I must be right, isn't that so? As he spoke, the mystic aura surrounding him intensified, its power radiating through the hall. Hajin's hand closed in on Won-hee's neck, his grip tightening with brutal strength. In his heart, Won-hee whispered bitterly, Master, this is the price of the trust you always revere. Look at how this foolish traitor has betrayed us in the end. He allowed Hajin to seize his throat, the force of the attack slamming him against the wall, which cracked and crumbled under the impact. Blood trickled from Won-hee's wounds as Hajin's grip grew fiercer. Though I'm not like you, Hajin sneered, his voice cold and resolute. We are bound as martial family, and you, the arrogant heir of the heavenly demon cult, deserve my mercy. I will end you with my own hands. Won-hee chuckled darkly, his voice dripping with provocation. You've all deceived us. Why bother justifying your actions? Perhaps that's why you've been manipulated by outsiders beyond the cult. His taunts pushed Hajin to the brink, the elder's rage boiling over. Hajin tightened his grip further, his voice thundering with fury. Yon Won-hee, you won't die peacefully. As Won-hee coughed up fresh blood, Hajin exhaled in relief, his lips curling into a sarcastic smile. I'll correct all your mistakes, nephew, and bring prosperity to the heavenly demon cult, he declared, his tone dripping with mockery. Suddenly, Won-hee's lips curled into a small smile before erupting into wild, booming laughter. His voice echoed throughout the chamber, sending a suffocating pressure rippling through the room. The elders instinctively recoiled, the sheer intensity of his aura pressing down on them like an unseen force. Then when he spoke again, his voice laced with amusement and scorn. Even after all this, you still don't understand me? Uncle, you've gone through so much trouble to get rid of me, but it seems you've forgotten the kind of person I am. Without warning, Won-hee reached into his robe and took out the demon dragon sword. The moment the blade gleamed in the dim light, Chun Hajin's eye widened in pure horror. What are you doing? You think I'll just stand by and let you cast a spell? Hajin's voice cracked with panic as he lunged forward, desperate to snatch the sword from Won-hee's grasp. But he was too late. In an instant, the orb embedded in the sword's hilt ignited, flooding the hall with an ominous, blinding light. A force unlike anything before erupted from the weapon, blasting Hajin backward with tremendous power, the impact leaving him bloodied and racked with pain. He gasped, how? When had Won-hee amassed so much mystic energy? As the sword hovered in midair, its dense aura radiating like a sun, Won-hee grinned, his expression demonic. Within this demon dragon sword lies the remnants of the first heavenly demon himself. I've embedded all of my mystic energy into it. That's why I didn't waste my power on your pathetic attacks earlier, uncle. Panic seized the elders as they scrambled, sweat pouring down their faces. They hastily attempted to construct barriers with their ki, but it was too late. Wunhee showed no hesitation as he activated the ritual Hellfire Soul Explosion. The sword pulsed, unleashing a cataclysmic blast, an explosion akin to the birth of a star, radiating an unbearable light, its brilliance scorching the heavens. In the split second before the inferno consumed him, Hajin could do nothing but scream Wunhee's name, his voice vanishing into oblivion, swallowed along with the rest of the elders. Space-time itself twisted, warping within the cult's palace as the blast expanded. Then with a final surge, the explosion erupted outward, obliterating the palace in its entirety, leaving behind nothing but devastation. Wunhee sat motionless, his body ravaged by pain, his breath shallow as he gazed at the ruins of the palace that had once stood proudly. The cold drizzle of snow fell gently around him, seeping into his very bones, reminding him that, despite everything, this was how he would meet his end, beneath the quiet touch of falling snow. It was eerily familiar, just like when he was a child, beaten mercilessly by boys his age, all because he could see ghosts on the same kind of snow-covered ground. Those boys never believed him. How could an orphan with a broken lower dantian possibly see the spirits of the dead? They mocked him, saying that if they had been born like him, they would have gone mad or ended their own lives. Frustrated by their cruelty, Wunhee had finally reached his breaking point. Without hesitation, he struck one of them in the head with a rock, before fleeing as fast as his legs could carry him, desperate to escape their retaliation. He ran until he could run no more, collapsing onto the frozen earth, breath racked and shoulders heaving. His frustration only grew. He had fought so hard to escape those stray dogs, and what angered him even more was the ghosts. No matter how many times he pushed them away, they clung to him, refusing to leave. Then suddenly, a voice broke through the silence. "You have special eyes, young one." Wunhee's heart nearly stopped. He hadn't sensed anyone approaching, not even the slightest trace of their presence. Slowly he turned his gaze to the stranger standing behind him. His clothes were grand, the sword at his waist so exquisitely crafted it could only belong to someone of immense status. This was no place for a man of such stature. If he had come all this way just to find Wunhee, the boy's heart sank in resignation. He was going to die. Wunhee didn't fight it. Instead, he looked up at the martial artist with dull, weary eyes. "You must be interested in my cursed eye, aren't you?" His voice was void of emotion, drained of hope. "Take them. I know you are a martial artist. Why should I resist? I don't know if these damned eyes have any value as an elixir, but you can pull them out, eat them, steam them, do whatever you want." He no longer cared. But then, unexpectedly, the man draped his cloak over Wunhee's frail, shivering frame. "Your eyes are not cursed," the man said gently. "They are a gift. Every once in a while, children like you are born. Those with a strong upper dantian or a unique spiritual root. Special children receive special gifts. And I believe you can become even more extraordinary than anyone in this world." His voice softened, and with a warm hand, he touched Wunhee's face, offering something the boy had never known: kindness. For the first time, Wunhee felt human warmth. From that moment on, Wunhee followed this man, the one who could become his master, and his name, that too, was given to him by very same person. Wunhee could still remember the moment his master gazed up at the sky, his voice thoughtful yet firm: "To honor the day we met, how about I named you Wunhee, taken from the warm light of the evening clouds." From the moment Wunhee met his master, he had found a reason to live, a purpose that burned brighter than the cruel fate he had been given. He would do anything for his master, but fate was unkind. His cursed body had wreaked havoc, causing a violent key deviation within his master, the very person who had tried to teach him cultivation. As his failing body trembled on the brink of collapse, Won-hee clenched his fist, his mind racing. If I die here, I'll only disappoint him. My body is already crumbling into dust. No matter what I do, there's no saving it. There's only one choice left. Determined, he slammed his hands onto the ground, activating the forbidden art of Zoroastrianism, primordial God sphere reversal, an ancient spell practiced by Zoroastrian priests of old. It was a technique used to evade death by transferring one's soul into another body, but it was forbidden for a reason. It rarely worked. Even those who succeeded often perished soon after, their souls unable to harmonize with their new vessel. As the forbidden spell took form, a glowing circle inscribed with arcane markings burned on top of the earth. Won-hee took a shuddering breath, steeling himself. I'm using the last remnants of mystic energy from the demon dragon sword to ensure the spell succeeds. Now, all that remains is trusting my luck. His gaze drifted toward his master palace on the cliff across the abyss. A fleeting hope flickered in his heart that his master would remain safe until his return. And then in an instant, his soul ascended, breaking free of his shattered form in search of a new body. His original body, the only one he had ever known, disintegrated into nothing, vanishing forever. Won-hee awoke abruptly, his senses overwhelmed by the sharp sting of pain coursing through his body. A woman's voice pierced the air, her relentless scolding echoing in his ears as she struck him repeatedly. Disoriented, Won-hee's mind raced. Had the primordial God sphere reversal worked? But his confusion quickly turned to shock as the woman shouted, "Tang Won-hee, are you even listening to me? How long are you going to lie there on the floor? Get up now!" Obeying her command, Won-hee rose to his feet, still reeling from the realization. His soul had indeed transferred into another body, a boy named Tang Won-hee, whose name eerily mirrored his own. If Yeon Won-hee had been an orphan, then Tang Won-hee was no better off. From the woman's harsh words, he learned that this new body belonged to an unwanted illegitimate child. The woman, still seething with anger, raised her wooden stick to strike him again. But this time, Won-hee refused to endure her abuse. Without hesitation, he grabbed her wrist, stopping her mid-swing. His voice was sharp and unyielding as he said, "Your breath reeks, you wretch hack. Can't you point that ugly conniving face somewhere else, old hack?" The woman froze, stunned by Won-hee's sudden defiance and crude demeanor. Furious, she stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. "Don't even think about leaving this place until you understand your mistakes, you worthless brat," she spat before disappearing. As silence settled over the room, Won-hee finally felt a moment of calm from the memories embedded in this new body. He pieced together the truth. The woman was his adoptive mother. The forbidden spell, primordial God sphere reversal, could only work on bodies that had recently died or were on the brink of death. It dawned on him that his adoptive mother had beaten this body to the point of death before his soul took over. If Yeon Won-hee's life had been plagued by misfortune, Tan Won-hee's existence seemed no less cursed. Won-hee's new body was frail, untrained, and in poor condition. Yet as he assessed his situation, a glimmer of hope emerged. This body possessed something Yeon Won-hee's never had, a lower dantian. If he could train it to master martial art, then combine it with the mystic arts cultivated from his upper dantian in his previous life, along with his unique ability to control ghosts and spirits, he could become unstoppable. He clenched his fist, determination burning in his eyes. "I'll make sure to repay those bastards who toyed with heavenly demon cult. They'll learn exactly who they've crossed." Won-hee's surroundings soon became clear. He was now in the Tang clan of Sichuan, one of the six great clans of the martial realm and the ruling power of Sichuan province. To the west lay the Potala Palace of Tibet, home to the Kunlun sect. To the south were the Heavenly Dragon Temple, the Jianchang sect, and the Five Poison sect. To the north stood the front lines of the Central Plain, where forces battled against the Heavenly Demon cult. Leading the Tang clan's vanguard was the Wild Wind Squad, commanded by Tang Hosan. Known as the Wild Wind Rampager, Tang Hosan had established a new branch family, the Nine Dragon Division, and was entrusted by the Tang clan patriarch, Dark Sovereign Tang Munhu, with overseeing Jiulong City, a strategic trade hub in Sichuan. Tang Hosan had 3 children, his eldest daughter, Tang Yujin, and his youngest son, Tang Yuchang, both born to his legitimate wife, Namgun Sanyong. But there was also a second child, born unexpectedly after a drunken night with a servant. That illegitimate child was now the vessel for Wunhui's reincarnated soul. As an illegitimate son, Wunhui's new status was abysmal. Even the servants treated him with disdain. One such servant, Hyung Sam, demanded that Wunhui apologize to the matriarch of his earlier defiance. The matriarch had even ordered that no food be sent to the White Pavilion, where Wunhui resided, threatening starvation to everyone there. Hyung Sam's persistence grated on Wunhui's nerves. Without hesitation, Wunhui slapped the servant hard across the face, sending him sprawling to the floor. But Hyung Sam's stubbornness only fueled Wunhui's anger. He struck the servant repeatedly, his blows relentless, until Hyung Sam's face was battered and unrecognizable. Finally, Wunhui spoke, his voice cold and commanding. Hyung Sam, I trust you'll remember your place as someone from my mother's village. Surely, you understand how I feel, don't you? I understand, young master. I won't forget your kindness, or Madam Second's kindness. I, Hyung Sam, will serve you well. The servant stammered, his voice trembling with fear. Seeing Hyung Sam's terror, Wunhui wasted no time exploiting it, ordering him to bring all the supplies he needed as quickly as possible. Once the servant rushed out of the room, Wunhui flexed his fingers, a strange discomfort settling in. His hands hurt just from beating a mere servant. It was frustrating. Even more frustrating was the fact that the first madam had isolated him, making it nearly impossible to move freely within the Tang family. At this rate, his only option was to focus on internal cultivation. But that posed a dilemma. His current body had already been trained in Tang clan cultivation techniques, while the Heavenly Demon Nine Swords, his master's ultimate technique from his past life, was a demonic art. The two could never coexist. Orthodox faction techniques, like those of the Tang clan, were fundamentally incompatible with the dark arts of the Heavenly Demon cult. Even so, Wunhui knew that over the centuries, some Tang clan members had defected to the Heavenly Demon cult. With that knowledge, he devised a plan, delving into the memories embedded within his upper dantian from the previous life. He merged them with the upper dantian of his new body, creating a replicated virtual memory space, a Heavenly Demon archive, a personal library of the cult's techniques. Through this archive, he retrieved a book, Poison Dragon Essence Art, the lost technique of a Tang clan poison master who had been exiled and later joined the Heavenly Demon cult. The poison master adapted the cult's poison techniques to work within the Tang clan's cultivation system by replacing demonic ki with poison ki. As Wunhui skimmed through the ancient texts, he mused internally, if I use Poison Dragon Essence Art to wield demonic arts, then no Tang clan member will ever suspect me. Yet there was a brutal price to pay. To cultivate poison ki, he would have to endure excruciating agony. Even worse, he would need to consume high-level toxins just to replenish his energy, a process far from pleasant. Despite walking down a path of relentless suffering, he found solace in one small victory. After merging his upper dantian, his Reaper's sight had finally returned.